They laughed when the lawyer opened the envelope, and I remember thinking the sound was worse than crying, because it meant they were sure they had already won. Sure that whatever was written on that paper would finally erase me. And that was the moment I realized my own family had been waiting for my mother to die like it was. A punchline too. A joke I was never meant to understand. I still hear that laugh sometimes, sharp and careless, bouncing off the walls of that cold conference room, and if you're listening right now, stay with me. Because the way it started is nothing like the way it ended. And I promise you'll want to know what happened when the lawyer cleared his throat. Before I go back to that day, let me tell you who I was in that room. Because to them I was just the quiet one, the extra chair at the table, the daughter who never fit into the family photos. I'm the youngest. The accident baby, as my sister liked to remind me. My brother once joked that I was the afterthought, and everyone laughed, including my mother, even though I could see the hurt flash in her eyes before she hit it. In our family, jokes were weapons, and laughter was how you knew you were bleeding. My mother was the only one who ever really saw me. She wasn't perfect, but she was kind in a way that didn't need to announce itself. When my father died, everything changed. He left behind a house, a small business, and a family that suddenly treated grief like a competition. My brother wanted control. My sister wanted credit. And I just wanted my mom to be okay. I moved back home to help her. I cooked, cleaned, took her to appointments, and listened when she talked about memories no one else wanted to hear anymore. They called me a freeloader. They said I was manipulating her. They said I was only there for the money. The irony is, at the time, I didn't think there would be any money left at all. If this kind of family betrayal story pulls at something in you, you might want to like and subscribe now, quietly, the way people do when they don't want anyone else in the room to notice. That's what I did when I first found stories like this on Intiqara Revenge Stories. I listened in secret, not knowing I'd one day be telling my own. The months before my mother passed were heavy. My sister barely visited, but when she did, she made sure to comment on everything I was doing wrong. My brother talked about estate planning like my mom was already gone. I remember one night, after everyone left, my mother took my hand and held it for a long time. She didn't say much, just asked if I was tired. I told her I was fine. She smiled and said, "I know who's really here for me." At the time, I thought she was just trying to comfort me. I had no idea she was already making decisions that would change everything. The day of the will reading felt unreal. My mother had been gone for 3 weeks. I was still sleeping in her old sweater, still expecting to hear her voice in the kitchen. My brother showed up in a suit that looked too expensive for a funeral. My sister wore heels and confidence. They barely looked at me, when they did. It was with that familiar mix of pity and annoyance. Like I was a reminder of something inconvenient. The lawyer was an older man with kind eyes. He asked us to sit. The room smelled like paper and old coffee. When he started reading, my brother leaned back, already smiling. My sister checked her phone. And when the lawyer reached the part about the house, my sister actually laughed out loud. She nudged my brother like this was a private joke between them. That's when my stomach dropped, because I realized they had been talking about this behind my back for months. They laughed because the first part of the will left things exactly as they expected. The business to my brother, some investments to my sister, family heirlooms divided neatly, each sentence felt like another confirmation that I didn't belong at that table. I remember staring at my hands, thinking about how many nights I had slept on the couch just in case my mom needed me. How many meals I had cooked while they were too busy to visit. And then the lawyer stopped. He cleared his throat. The room went quiet. That sound, small as it was, felt like someone pressing pause on the entire world. He looked directly at me, and then back at the paper. My brother frowned. My sister's smile froze. There is an additional letter, the lawyer said, to be read aloud at this time. They shifted in their seats. My sister rolled her eyes. She whispered something about Mom being dramatic, and then the lawyer began to read my mother's words. She wrote about love, but not the kind people brag about. She wrote about the quiet love that shows up every day. She wrote about who held her hand when she was scared, who listened when she felt invisible, who stayed when staying was hard. With every sentence, I felt my chest tighten. My brother's face went pale. My sister stopped breathing like she was afraid of making noise. Then the lawyer read the line that changed everything. My mother had left the house, the one place that had ever felt like home to me, entirely to me, not shared, not conditional, mine. The room erupted. My sister stood up, shouting. My brother demanded to see the paper. They accused me of manipulation, of brainwashing, of theft. They laughed again, but this time it was brittle, desperate. The lawyer cleared his throat again and kept reading. My mother had anticipated this. She explained, in her own handwriting, why she made the choices she did. She wrote that she had watched how they treated me. She wrote that she had seen their absence. And she wrote that the laughter I endured for years was not love. She even mentioned the word humiliation, and my sister flinched like she'd been slapped. When it was over, no one spoke. The laughter was gone. My brother looked small. My sister looked lost. I sat there shaking, not from victory, but from the weight of being seen so completely by someone who was no longer alive. They tried to fight it, of course. There were lawyers and accusations and family members who suddenly remembered my phone number. But the will was solid. My mother had been careful. And in the end, there was nothing they could do. I live in that house now. I kept it the way she liked it. Sometimes I sit at the kitchen table and imagine her across from me, smiling that quiet smile. I didn't get revenge the way movies show it. I didn't scream or gloat. I just lived a life she wanted me to have, and somehow that felt like the strongest answer of all. If you've ever been laughed at by the people who were supposed to love you, I'd really like to hear your thoughts. Share this story with someone who might need it, and leave a comment about what you would have done in my place, or about a moment when silence spoke louder than words. Stories like this don't end when the video does, they linger, and sometimes telling them is the only way to finally breathe again.